Musk did buy Twitter. I guess he bought it last night, technically. And his first thing he did was he fired three of the top executives, including I never pronounce his name right, but the CEO, who I think was thinking he would still stay on. But these people have these jobs where they're getting at least $300,000 a piece, basically for doing practically nothing. And I think I base my idea on that he didn't think he was going to be fired because there seemed to be a period where they were cleaning up bots for a while in between the period of you know, Musk deciding he was going to buy it the second time, deciding with this court thing. It seemed like all of a sudden people were losing that had big numbers, right? They were losing a couple thousand followers. And what they surmised was happening is that someone in Twitter was trying to clean house a little for the new owner. Well, the new owner came in and said, "You're out," and out the door immediately. And he plans to eliminate 75% of the workers. I think, what did they say, 7,500 workers? Something like that. They've got like 10,000 employees, and most of them do nothing, really. There was this, I watched this Mike Walsh video. I don't usually watch him, but once in a while I do. And it was on this subject. And there was this video someone made on TikTok about what their day at Twitter was like. And it was like, oh, it's about getting coffee, sitting in special rooms, having little discussions with people. They even had a wine dispensing machine, so you could get a glass of wine. And, she went up to the roof, that's, all got fake grass on it and turf and everything. So she could chill out for a while, because I guess doing practically nothing all day gets stressful. So you have to sit and drink some wine. That's after you drank your expensive coffee. You've done this, you've done that. And but if there was ever an ad for "fire me, I'm doing nothing," that TikTok video was it. And so Walsh showed that. And he brought up a topic too that so many people don't understand is when you're working with an employer, you have to understand whether you have any cards to play or are they all his. Some Twitter employees wrote this letter about how unsatisfied they were about this Musk taking over the companies and how they kind of wouldn't stand for it. It's like, if there were names on it, that's the first layoff list. I mean, why would you keep people who are already opposed to you when you walk in the door? And it's like, people have an inflated sense of how much they're worth. And again, if you're doing practically nothing, you're worth nothing. I could replace anyone in Twitter that does nothing because I can do nothing all day too. So for them to think they had some bargaining power is kind of silly. But you have this situation all the time where workers believe sometimes that they're way more important than they are. And sometimes it's the employer that thinks they're way too important. Now if you're in a bottom level job, you can go anywhere and get that same job. I bet I could go out and work, 6 places in 2 weeks. And the 6th place would be very glad to get me, even though I've worked other places 1 or 2 days only, because the market's so tight, right? But when you're doing nothing, you have no value. Now, it's interesting, too, though, sometimes if you have a union, you can present yourself as a block of people, and you can really kind of hurt your employer's profitability if they won't give in to your demands. That's what unions are basically about. Or to at least get some talks going about, come to some compromise on some issues. Well, here in Maine, there was a bakery called Hostess, and the workers were really upset. They decided to go on strike, and this evil company wasn't paying them enough. Well, come to find out, looking at their pay levels, that they were getting paid between $10 and $15 more an hour than people doing the same job in a non-union shop. So they had this huge amount of extra money that was only there because they were in the union. So anyway, they're on strike, and they get, oh yeah, we're gonna get this employer. Oh yeah, he's really sweating now. This is gonna be a real problem for him. And the employer comes out and says, I'm closing the company and dissolving it. You know, and he does. He shuts the company down. The employees have nowhere to return to if they could return. They're going to go back out into the real world where some of their jobs, this is back before all the inflated wages, some of the jobs they're going to get are at minimum wage now because that's all they're worth without the union. And the guy, for some reason, just decided, I don't know, maybe he was older, someone didn't want to take over the company in his family or whatever it was, didn't want to deal with it. So he just closed the company. Now, they had real value in their Twinkies and different things like that. Well, the guy who owned all of that was smart. He sold some of those things. He sold the brand name. He sold the recipes. So I'm sure he's sitting pretty with all the money he could possibly use in his lifetime. And all the other employees are just out in the cold because they overestimated their worth, and they were bargaining with someone who was just about to unplug the wall socket from the lamp, and that just pushed him over the edge, and he did it. I'll never forget one time I was working in this water quality lab, and people were kind of disgruntled about the pay. There wasn't that many of us. And so someone said, oh, we should unionize. Yeah, let's unionize. Let's pick the truckers. Let's get in a union that's really nasty. And so people were thinking about that. And I don't know how there was some decision where, like, really, we just didn't want to do it. So we didn't do it. But come to find out, during that week that everybody was talking about it, we weren't talking to management about it, but we found out later from some other things that they were considering closing the laboratory at that point. At the same time, us little people were deciding that we could hold them up for money. They were thinking of, again, just turning off the switch. So I'm just saying you got to be kind of careful of what you're doing. And I guess you don't gamble with what you can't afford to lose. And you got to really realize how valuable you are to a company or not. And nowadays, it's all dollars and cents, and most companies just don't care. You're just a number. You're a resource. Whether they think you can make the money or not, that's it. That's the whole thing. So, interesting occurrences. Bye.